Good afternoon and Merry Christmas to everybody throughout the world, wherever you happen to be. It's a pleasure to be with you here today, talking to you from the magnificence of the Greater Kruger National Park, where we're sitting on the western fringes on Djuma. We're at Djuma Dam at the moment, and to the west of us, Arathusa, where we also traverse. My name is James Henry. On camera, we have got Andrew Francis. Hello, Andrew. Andrew is branded to the max with Nat.Geo Wild branding, our wonderful sponsors. It's lovely to have them on board too, especially at Christmas time. And you are on a live safari. If you happen to be at home this Christmas and trolling through the internet, it's wonderful to know that you are with us on a live safari. So please talk to us, hashtag Safari Live if you're tweeting like that. What was it that just flew over? It was a greater blue-eared glossy starling. It went where? If you're tweeting like that greater blue-eared glossy starling, please talk to us on Twitter. Otherwise, questions at WildEarthTV if you want to talk to us on the email. Our plan this afternoon, there were no kind of big cat sightings this morning, so we're going to drive around, see if we can find any sign of some lions. Perhaps those wild dogs that were knocking about Simbambili to the west of us have come this way. We'll go and have a look around there and see what happens. Otherwise, it's a little journey of discovery through the bush on this wonderful Christmas day. Welcome to it. It's great to have you along. Brent Leo Smith will be with you shortly. He's being filmed by Tebs, and on her own, manning the skeletal crew in the final control, is Louise Pavitt. Over there, some Christmas buffaloes. And it's been a wonderfully cool day. Yesterday it probably hit 40 degrees Celsius, 103 degrees Fahrenheit, and today it's a very mild 30 degrees, and I think that's about 87 degrees Fahrenheit. So very pleasant indeed. There's a gentle breeze blowing in from the southeast. There were some thunderstorms predicted, and there's certainly some clouds off to the west, but whether those will materialize in rain or not, I'm not so sure. Certainly many of the clouds have been building up in the west during the afternoons and haven't been creating much in the way of any moisture for the parched landscape. Then over there, Andrew, before you come back to my face, my ugly mug, there are some kudu. 3 kudu cows, and everything just has a real sense of peace about it this morning, at least this afternoon, morning depending on where you are, I suppose. And we've come to this area not only because of the buffalo and those kudu, but because this is where Karula was knocking about yesterday. We didn't find her tracks this morning, which says to me that she's probably around here somewhere. And because of the number of prey that there are around at the moment, we've got baby impala everywhere, and that of course is the favored food of a leopard. I wonder if she isn't, she certainly looked to be hunting last night, and I wonder if she hasn't got one stashed away in a tree somewhere close by. So that's why we're in this particular area at the moment. Clown Sharon, you say that as we look at these buffalo, it's a buffalo Christmas pool party. That's exactly what it is. And I tell you, it was something to behold yesterday. You know, we watched Karula around here for about 2 hours, which is a wonderful privilege. And I thought maybe she was trying to sort of sneak up to the water, and hopefully she was going to catch something that came down to the water. I think that was one of her intentions. But certainly she then went down to the water to drink once the buffalo had cleared off. And these buffalo defecate and urinate in that water to the extent that it eventually turns into a totally anaerobic kind of eutrophic mass of algae, and I mean it really is quite a sort of primordial soup, if you like, and she just drank it no problem. It's not the kind of water you would ever drink even in your most desperate time. Anyway, so that's the plan for the day, and I'm just going to give you a little bit more sense of the atmosphere around us. You can hear the woodland kingfishers going. There's a gentle breeze blowing, like I say, from the southeast. In fact, it's kind of swirling, the breeze. But otherwise, like I say, everything is just completely at peace. Smart redhead, you say, wouldn't Christmas buffalo be wearing Christmas hats? Well, if they were delivering presents and gifts, I suppose they would, but perhaps these chaps are just a bit old and cantankerous to be part of the Christmas spirit. Let's head across to Brent Leo Smith. He is mobile. I'm not sure what his plan is for the afternoon, but he'll tell you all about that. We'll carry on looking for various tracks, and we'll see you shortly.
So, unfortunately, our perfectly planned sunset safari Christmas opening failed dismally. The wildebeest are disappearing into the thickest, nastiest stuff. I am blinded by the fact that my Christmas hat does not have a peak, and there they are, hiding amongst the round leaf teak thickets. But this is Christmas Day. My name is Brent Leo Smith. I have the very brightly dressed Tebs on the back of the vehicle, and a very Merry Christmas to everyone. And we've had a wonderful day next to the swimming pool, and we have tried to keep with Christmas spirit, but I'm afraid with the beating African sun, that will have to come on after sunset. Until then, I like to be able to see where I'm going and not get my nose sunburnt beyond recognition. But we've got this wonderful breeding herd of wildebeest, and they've got about 9 babies at the moment. Unfortunately, we can't see them too well. They are busy moving through the round leaf teak thickets, but I'm pretty sure later on the safari they're going to move out into the open areas of the quarantine clearings, and we'll get a nice view of them. And it is absolutely sweltering today after a wonderful cool start to the sunrise safari. As I predicted, it is warmed up, and if you haven't noticed, I'm actually wearing my Christmas present today. I'm not quite sure why, but this is what I got given by the Wild Earth crew, a pair of suspenders. I think they might think my pants are falling down too often, and not only suspenders, but luminous orange suspenders. I do quite like them because I can go like this and look very important when I'm thinking and talking about things, and then just let them go with a smack. But welcome to Safari Live. This is Christmas Safari Live. Hopefully we'll be able to find you a Christmas cat or two, and let these wildies move through to the thickets. And because it's so blisteringly hot, around 90 degrees Fahrenheit, I think I should go look for some water and hopefully some elephants. So let's get going. So while I extricate myself from the thicket that I tried to find the wildebeest in, let's go have a look at James, who's with a spiral horned, I don't know.
So we're just here, we're not far from where you last saw us. We're watching some nyala, my favourite antelope, and those are 3 nyala cows, I think. One in the middle might be a very young male, and then, yeah, it is a young male. Whew. There's a monkey, Andrew, if you look off to the left-hand side there. You seldom see monkeys, you know, and I don't really know why. We see them in camp all the time. They come and raid the pantry if we leave the door open. And there's a lovely vervet monkey. I think they're fascinating creatures. And climbing into a tree, I mean, that I like to climb trees, but I would never go anywhere near a tree like that. You'd slice your fingers to pieces on those vicious thorns. I think what he's going for is tree gum. Andrew, can you see what she's having a go at? The acacias are renowned for producing very nutritious tree gum, but normally that's a winter sort of food. But that monkey has definitely got its teeth right in on the branches. Smart redhead, you're working on my friend's recipe for guinea fowl, which of course, for those of you who missed it, is a very simple recipe, and it's basically a long cooked stew. And what you do is you take a three-legged pot or cast iron pot, put it on a fire, put a bit of water in it, cut up your veggies, whatever you like, stick it in there, put a brick inside the cast iron pot, put the guinea fowl next to the brick, boil it for 3 or 4 days, and then toss out the guinea fowl and eat the brick. That's basically how you cook guinea fowl. And Smart Redhead, you say you're struggling to find a brick. I'm sorry about that. Perhaps after Christmas, when the builders come back from their builders' holiday, you'll be able to source yourself a brick. And there goes a little Nyale cow. I'm just going to try and sneak a little bit closer to that monkey and just try and see if we can't figure out what he's eating, because I know that some of those red thorn trees, he's sitting in a red thorn tree, those red thorn trees are starting to flower, and any kind of flower in this area attracts an enormous number of insects, and we had one yesterday with Scott. I'm just up to the right-hand side of your screen, just up there, and there were fruit chaffers and CMR blister beetles and longhorn beetles and all sorts of interesting things in it. Let's just see if we can't get a little closer. The monkeys don't like the vehicles for some reason, so I'm not sure how close we'll get. He's still sitting there. Stop right here. He's still sitting in the same tree. There's another one. There's another one lurking in the shadows here who thinks he's very clever. Let's just try and figure out what he's eating. It's a little one, a young monkey, sub-adult. There are no flowers on that tree, so I don't think that the monkey is going for the insects that are there. And she just looked like she was chewing at the bark. He or she was chewing at the bark, and I think maybe there's some gum leaking out. And the acacia gum, like I say, is very nutritious. There are a few more interesting things here. In front of us, a young Nyala bull. And Diane, I'm going to let you guess what I got for Christmas. Let's make it a little game of 20 questions. I did get one small gift. And the only clue that I'm going to give you over the course of the drive so far is that it is a very useful thing, especially for evenings. I'll also give you the size. It's not very large. They're the Nyala cows, and this little group of Nyala is a very typical arrangement. There's no adult bull with them, just the cows and some young bulls who will eventually, sort of when their testosterone levels start to climb, they'll move away from the herd. And there I am again, of course. There is a monkey just... there it goes. There we go. Now, they've left that tree. Let's go and have a look at the tree and see if we can't find exactly what that monkey was going for. The other thing I'd like to find this afternoon, of course, is a leopard orchid flower. I've always said that I love them so much because they bloom around Christmas time. And I haven't managed to find one that I can pick. And I don't mean the whole plant, I just mean one bloom. One Christmas bloom. Robin, you're in Ohio and you are very grateful that we stayed on for the holidays. You say you were watching while you prepared your family's Christmas Eve meal. Robin, it's our pleasure, and I'm very grateful that you took the time out to watch us, and I'm glad that we provided something of Christmas cheer to you while you were at home slaving over the hot stove. Very sweet little monkey. Oh, sorry, I didn't even tell you what kind of monkey this is. So, Sharon, you're asking what kind of monkey this is from Maryland. Sharon, this is a vervet monkey, and it's the only monkey that we find here. One of 4 primates. The other 3 primate species are bush babies, which are sort of much more primitive primates, baboons, and Andrew, what's the other one? Any idea? Come on then. I'll give you a clue. You're sitting quite close to one.
Vervet monkey.
The human being. That's right, well done. Okay, so hopeless, absolutely hopeless. And I'm just being told by the final control that we also get some mango monkeys in South Africa. We do, of course, and they occur in mountains and forested regions, not so much here. In fact, not at all here. So these are the only ones we get here. And I mean, further north in Africa, sort of the closer to the equator you get, the more number of primates you tend to find. And out here, not that many. We actually get 2 species of bush baby here. I'm wrong, we get 5 primates here if you include us. Thick-tailed and lesser bush baby. One very little, and one unsurprisingly with a thick tail. Lets out a perishingly terrifying screech. Smart redhead, you're guessing what I got for Christmas. It was not a bug net. It was not a bottle of moonshine, although that's getting slightly warmer. It was slightly larger than Karula's paw. Move a bit forward and let's have a look at this tree now. Mumsy, Sean and many others would have been a very appropriate Christmas present. This is a flashlight. I didn't actually. I think I'm going to have to go and spend some money on a flashlight, though. A good one like Scott's. Right, here is the tree that the monkey was eating out of. Now, I'm just going to go around the other side because that's where the monkey was. So like I said, lethal thorns. The monkey was sort of chewing on a piece in the middle here. And apart from spiking my balding head, I can't really see anything that the monkey would have eaten. There's no kind of obvious gum. There is a beetle here. Was this a beetle? There's a little click beetle. But otherwise I don't know. I mean, to have made the choice to climb into a tree like this is amazing to me. They also climb into knob thorns, which have very hooked, nasty thorns. How they do that, I don't know. Oh, there's an elephant, a huge elephant bull. Massive elephant bull coming to drink. Brilliant. Let's go and have a look. Leo Smith says if I wasn't wearing, if I had been wearing my Christmas hat, which I do have with me, by the way, I wouldn't have spiked my balding head on that thorn. That is probably true. I would also have a very nasty case of sunburn on my forehead, though, and nobody wants that. Go and have a look. I'm going to suggest we go up to the top there next to the buffalo and see what transpires, because I think that elephant is going to come and have a drink. He's a lovely big bull. Christine, you're on Twitter and you say, do the monkeys steal personal items from the crew? Dean, if you leave your room open, absolutely they do. Thank you for your Merry Christmas wishes, and Merry Christmas to you too. But completely, yes, monkeys do a lot of thieving. Comment from Brent Leo Smith on the other vehicle, waffling on about doing something to modify the hat to make it protect you from the sun. But, you know, one never can be sure with Brent. Right, there we go. There's the bull, and the reason we've come here is that I think there might be a little bit of conflict around the water. I suspect he's going to come and have a drink. Isn't he magnificent? Just watch carefully here. He'll probably now, of course, just wander straight off up the drainage line, and we'll have to chase him to get a decent view, but that's a pretty good view. That's a fully grown elephant bull, I'd say, probably 40 years old. He's in the full bloom of life. We'll just watch him for another sort of 20 or 30 meters, and if he doesn't turn towards the water, we'll go down and follow him. There you can see the buffalo in front of him. He's not coming anywhere near the water. Okay, let's go back. Let's follow him. Sorry, Mr. Buffalo, you're going to have to move out the way there. Lucy in Indiana, no, my gift was not a compass. I'm not sure why you think I need a compass, but thank you. It wasn't a compass. Where he's going. Reckon that those monkeys go into the thorn trees because they're dared to do so by other monkeys. I don't think that's the case, but maybe for a Christmas dare. I actually didn't want to come and drive through this area anyway, because I think this is where Karula went yesterday evening. She doesn't seem to have popped out. Buffalo, of course, all over the place. Get in front of this elephant. He might also try and go to the Gallagher waterhole, which is just around the corner there. There are no buffalo. Smart redhead, you say you love Ellie's, and he's magnificent. He is magnificent. He's watching us quite carefully. He started to move a bit faster. And you want to know also how long they live in the bush. Smart redhead, they live for up to sort of 65 years in advanced cases, but 55 to 60 is probably the norm. I don't know if you noticed what he did there, but we will carry on following him. But what he did was, as soon as we got parallel with him, he took 2 steps towards us, and then he started to walk a bit quicker. And all that is saying is, I'm not that comfortable with you at the moment, so keep your distance a bit, but, you know, let's carry on. So that's what we're going to do. He is a 6-ton animal, so there's really no, we don't really have any negotiating power. Christine, I don't know where you're tweeting from, but you say you're coming to the Sabi Sands next year for your first safari. That's great news. You say you're famous for your moonshine. Christine, bring it on, as they say. You say I must put my order in. I'm not sure what kind of moonshine you make, but you know, any exotic moonshine will be gratefully received if diluted quite substantially before consumption. Question to answer, Mike in Montana. You want to know what's happened to the ball of cameras, the virtual reality rig that we have in front there. Mike, unfortunately, has malfunctioned. Two of the little cameras are really struggling to work, so we're trying to fix those at the moment. We discovered that only this afternoon, unfortunately. I don't know that we can get through this way. Getting a little bit closer. William, you say you reckon I got a decanter for Christmas. Not a decanter, William. You are getting closer. Keep going, everyone. You'll get there in the end. I did get I've got a hip flask for my birthday. Now, what I want you to appreciate here is that is a 6-ton animal. He's about 50 meters from us, and he's completely silent. Isn't that amazing? I'd hardly see him. 6-ton elephant bull. So we're going to keep following him. I think he's going to go to that other waterhole. Marianne, you're in Boston, and you were asking Andrew if he got sunflower seeds from me. Andrew, you didn't get anything from me, did you? Andrew, I'll tell you what, you can have some of my bird seed tomorrow for your breakfast, your Boxing Day breakfast. Okay. There we go. Watch your heads here, everybody. A couple of thorns on the left, nothing up at the top. See this perfect pathway. Oh, that's really a lovely picture, actually. There's a perfect pathway leading onto that elephant bull there. And look at him sitting quietly in the shade there. And this pathway has been worn over years of use. Just try and listen to the wind blowing through the leaves above our heads. And the complete silence of the elephant. Stella in Michigan, you want to know if I got a new pair of binoculars for Christmas. No, I did not get a new pair of binoculars for Christmas. There was a certain budgetary limit on what was going to be handed around the camp, and while these binoculars would certainly have fallen within that budgetary limit, I don't necessarily want to repeat my purchase of binoculars like that. And you also want to know what this little friend of mine here is. He's my little friend. Very sweet. It's a comfort blanket, so it just helps me to, calm myself whenever I'm tense and trying to find a leopard and I can't. Then I stroke that and I feel much better about myself. No, it is a microphone. It's for the virtual reality rig. This is the thing that records the sound. That's all it is. A very fancy little microphone. Let's try and sneak a little bit closer to this elephant. It's very important we assess his behavior the whole way along. Make sure that we don't make him uncomfortable, and therefore that he won't make us uncomfortable. go up here onto the road. It's a bit easier. Oh, Pat in Florida, you are very, very, very clever. Pat, I did indeed get a whiskey glass for Christmas. Thank you very much. Well done. I knew you'd get it. I can't believe it took so little time. There were far too many clues. Clown Sharon, the only thing you say that Andrew got from me was a headache. Andrew, is that the case? Right. Well, Andrew's going to get a lot worse than that. This drive, I tell you that for free. The elephant's coming through this thick stuff here. And you can see it's very thick. We can't possibly go in there, in this vehicle. So let's just go and park by the waterhole there, and hopefully that massive bull will come out and drink in front of us. Also, while we're driving through here, I came through this area once before drive, hoping that maybe we'd see Karula, because this is sort of round about the area that she's spending most of her time these days. And so just keep an eye out for her as well. On the turn, oh, there he is. He is not a small fellow, that. There he comes. Lovely. I'm just going to let him get past. I don't want to irritate him. That is a proper elephant, that. I don't know that he's even going to have a drink here. Like I said, it hasn't been a very hot day. 30 degrees. Oh, there we go. There we go. Right, now that's an indication that he's not particularly pleased with us. He's a little bit tired of us having us follow him. So we're just going to stop here and let him have his space. We've still got a very nice view. So there was no mistaking that body language. It said, "Thank you, that's quite close enough. Don't come any closer. You're irritating me." And it's interesting, you know, in some of the vehicles, I feel you can get a little bit closer to the elephants without them reacting. And that's because the engines don't make quite the same noise as this one does. This one, every time you let the clutch out, it goes, which of course is almost like a sort of challenge to a big animal like this. Isn't that great? That's wonderful. And rather like the buffalo who were having their pool party at Vuyatela Dam, this elephant is having his own little pool party. He's a bit of a Nigel no mates at the moment, but of course that is typical for elephant bulls. They like to live on their own. Oh, that's wonderful to watch. Isn't that great? So not very thirsty. Like I said, hasn't been a very hot day. Susan, you're in California. We can't follow that elephant in there, I'm afraid. It's very, very thick. Susan, in California, you say you've just got a book for Christmas called The Wildlife of Southern Africa by Withers and Hoskins. I've never heard of them. But it sounds like a wonderful book, and you say now you can start your bird list. Absolutely you can. Isn't that wonderful? There he goes. Disappears into the thick bush. I think we'll leave him going there. Let's head across to Brent Leo Smith, see what he's got to show you. I think he's driving the boundaries. I bet, hoping for signs of wild dogs. Let's head across to him and I'll catch up with you a little bit later.
Welcome to our blistering hot Christmas drive. Tebs and I are perusing the southern sectors of the reserve, and we're on our way to Treehouse Waterhole, where we're hoping elephants might be, where they've dug below the water table to create a natural pan for all the other animals. And so, as you saw earlier, it was very hot wearing the Christmas hat, so now I've made a modification. So I have my Christmas hat on top of my cap, and it's working very well. I still am not sure how I ended up with these orange suspenders as a Christmas present. Secondly, I'm still not sure who bought them. I think it was Steph, and Steph obviously must think I'm about 3 foot shorter than I actually am. And we actually had a very special request for a Christmas drive. Oh, that's what I'm pointing at. They're running at high speed. We might try to catch up with them. Unfortunately, they disappeared. We will try to get a view again, but that was especially a Merry Christmas to our director who left us recently, Tara Dales, her favorite animal. But let's show you where they've just been. So as you can see, it is incredibly dry in front of us, and we're at the bottom end of a natural seep line. So a seep line is where water migrates underneath the ground naturally, and the elephants have actually come here and dug deep enough that the water is seeping through the ground, and this is what the warthogs were bathing in. Now to you and I, that might look very soupy and muddy and not very nice to drink, but to a lot of the animals, and especially during a drought, it's an incredible source of water. And as you can see, the buzzing of insects, wasps, butterflies, robber flies, mealoid beetles will all utilize this water source. So it's an incredible source of nutrients to animals in a very dry climate. There we go. I don't know if you can see that butterfly. It's one of the little blues, but far too highly mobile to try to get an ID on. So this has been dug by elephants. So elephants know that the water here is very close to the surface, and they've dug down with their feet, with their trunks, with their tusks. You can even see the divots where they've used their tusks and created a water hole. And if you're a warthog or a buffalo, you will like to lie in it, or even a hyena or a wild dog. This is an incredible spot. And every drive at the moment, while it's so dry, I come here to check. And hopefully we might find some eddies here one day and actually get to see them excavate this hole. But let's try and catch up with those very shiny warthogs that are covered in mud. Chatting about Ellies who excavated that hole. Smart redhead would like to know, can African elephants swim like Indian elephants? They can swim very, very well. I've watched African elephants swim expanses of water of over 4 kilometers in Botswana and Namibia. So yes, they are very apt swimmers. Obviously, we don't see them swimming too often in these parts. We are not blessed with large rivers. So as I've mentioned, we're in a very dry period at the moment, and Jose in Virginia, he says from a very warm Virginia, and I can't imagine Virginia being too warm at this time of the year, well, what I consider warm. Jose is wondering, has the weather patterns changed so drastically that it's affected animals? Jose, not yet. We're still quite early in this drought, but in Africa, generally you work on about seven years wet, 7 years dry, and we've had an incredibly wet previous 7 years. So a dry 7 years is natural and part of the system. And when we have these very dry periods, what it does is it kills the weak and infirmed. So any animal that's harboring a disease or slightly injured or whatnot, now with the added pressure of trying to find food and water, becomes an easy target for the different predators. And you will notice in times of drought, lion populations sorry guys, we just have to keep quiet for a second. I was almost sure I heard monkey's alarm calling. With monkey's alarm, they've definitely seen a predator. It sounds very close to our southern boundary, so we're gonna move there. I'm a bit worried about it. It could even be south of our boundary, but we're definitely gonna go have a look. So I'm gonna actually speed up a little bit. So hold on, sit tight. Monkeys are one of the best sort of alarm systems you have in the bush. When they start alarm calling, it means there's definitely a predator, and not a snake eagle or a Warburg's eagle. It's going to be a lion, a leopard, a wild dog, or cheetah. So, Jose, while I'm speeding, I'll continue on with your question. And as I said, very early in the drought, so you will notice some of the buffalo have started to lose condition. You will see a lot more ribs showing through their sides, and you'll notice certain animals, especially the young animals, and that's one of the reasons that the wildebeest is spending so much time close to quarantine clearing, because there's water right there. Normally there would be water inundated throughout the savannah at this time from the rain, but it isn't there. So little pans like this on the left, I'm going to get Tibbs to show you now. You can see this hollow depression here on the left. Normally at this time of the year would be completely full of water, and as you can see, it's very, very bone dry, and so the animals are forced onto these areas where there's permanent water or pumped water. So that's what makes it more difficult for them, because they actually have to travel big distances to get to food and back to water. So I'm guessing, and as I said, this is a very much a hit and hope run that we're doing at the moment. I'm quite confident that those monkeys were alarming south of our boundary, or literally on our boundary, and I would say it was about here. Just listen for a second, and just looking at the bush around me, the trees, again, and it really breaks my heart to say this, But whatever those monkeys are, I'm calling it, are south of our boundary. Just hear them. They're not as... but in the meantime, Tibbs, can you see the woodlands kingfisher? You got it? No. Okay, so if we go from this knobthorn next to us here, and we go to the third largest tree from where we are, on the right-hand bottom branch coming out.
Yeah, there's a plant.
In your way. Let me go back a little bit. You got it? There we go. A woodlands kingfisher sitting in the shade. And the wind is gusting, and the alarm calls are quite difficult to hear, but the monkeys are still alarming. I wonder what it could be. That's what really gets me going about alarm calls when they're outside of our traverse area. Is it a lion? Is it a leopard? Is it cheetah? Or is it my favorite animal, wild dog? But we're going to definitely enjoy this incredibly beautiful bird, one of the intra-African migrants. So our winter time, it spends in the warm climes of Central and Western Africa and moves down here to breed during our summer. Woodlands kingfisher. And those of you who spend a lot of time on the dam cams will know them and their calls very well, that very distinct chit-chirr, chit-chirr. And for us in Southern Africa, it is the sound that summer has well and truly arrived. So, one of the most interesting things about this kingfisher is it's an insectivorous kingfisher, so it doesn't eat fish, even though it is named a kingfisher. And it has got one of my favorite scientific names of all the birds. It's Halisson senegalensis. And anyone who knows Latin or Italian, and even proper English, if you refer to a Halisson day, it is when the ocean is so still it looks like a lake. There's not a wave on it. And in the Mediterranean, you get those days from time to time. And a relative of the woodlands kingfisher, called the common kingfisher, was known to fly out over those very still waters, assuming it was a lake, and then flying out to sea. They would actually land on ships or boats and die, or land in the sea and die. And that's how the whole family got their scientific name, Halisson, from the still seas of the Mediterranean. But unfortunately, those monkeys are still alarm calling, and I don't know if you guys can hear it. It's gusting on the wind, which would make it very difficult for you to hear. So I can hear, you guys can't hear it, but unfortunately we can. And I'd say they're probably 400 to 500 meters from where we are now. So well out of our traverse zone, I'm afraid. And we can only speculate to what creature, what predator might be there. So I'm going to turn around and come back to this area later, who knows, or maybe get an update from the guys in the south to find out what possibly might be down there. If I remember the updates I got after drive this morning, I think there is a single Birmingham male lion and 2 Styx lionesses that are supposed to be on this property somewhere close by. So I think that's possibly what the monkeys might be seeing, moving towards a water hole. But again, speculation. Well, what I do to be able to transform into a bird and just fly over and have a quick squiz. So we've just left that beautiful woodlands kingfisher. And another question from Jose. Merry Christmas, Jose. And he's wondering what bird has the biggest beak out here. So, of course, we have many different beak types out here. Sorry, I'm just waving at a vehicle taking staff off to the gate so they can go on holiday after their working morning. And Jose, I think it probably belongs to the ground hornbill, which we saw on the sunrise safari in terms of sheer size and weight. And obviously there's lots of different beak designs, and I'd probably say definitely the ground hornbill, the heaviest, followed possibly by the marabou and saddle-billed storks. Obviously, if you're a very big bird, you're going to have a very big bill, but you probably find from the size and strength, any of the vultures, specifically the larger vulture species, lappet-faced and white-backed vulture, have a very large bill, not a very long bill, but a very heavy set, very strong bill for tearing at carcasses. Well done, Nicole, and Nicole's mom, who I'm afraid I don't know your name. Nicole said she just got her mom a South African wildlife book for Christmas, and her mom has just marked off a woodlands kingfisher off her bird list. Well, Nicole and Nicole's mom, we encourage you to keep marking off birds, and don't only do birds, do mammals, do trees, do butterflies, and hopefully the more you watch, the more birds you can tick off that list, the more butterflies, the more trees, and the more mammals you can as well. So while we continue to check the southwestern sections of Djuma Private Game Reserve, let's go see what the other Christmas elf, the inimitable James Henry, has been up to.
Hello everybody, we're just approaching Buffelshoek Dam now. And there is a buffalo. Oh look, there's an animal stuck in the mud. Oh gee, this is horrible to see. There are also some warthogs going off to the left-hand side there. I'm just going to pull onto the dam wall here. Let us assess the situation carefully. Now you see, this is fairly typical in any area, of course, that animals do get stuck in mud. And this mud, I mean, I nearly stood on it the other day, and Andrew said, don't, you'll sink very far in. That's an impala. Oh, that's very distressing. Right, what we're going to do, I'm just going to go down there. That buffalo, of course, is standing quite close by, just so that we can assess exactly what's going on there. Just fix my radio quickly, there we go. Okay, let's go down there. So for a big animal like that buffalo, this mud is no problem because it's probably about as deep as its belly. But for this impala, it's obviously not great. I wonder how long it's been stuck in there. And I'm just going to give it some distance. I don't want to get too close and stress it out. It's already absolutely exhausted. But I think what we're going to do, everybody, is I certainly can't go in there and fetch it out because there's no ways that I would be able to have, you know, that mud I will sink up to my thighs in. What we might do is just get hold of the Sabi sands and see if they want to do anything about it. So Smart Reddit, I don't really know how to answer your question. You want to know if anybody will try and get the impala out. We're going to try and get hold of the Sabi sands. We'll ask them what they're going to do. I'm not sure what the answer is. I suspect the answer is going to be, well, I actually don't know what the answer is going to be. The only reason they would is because this is a man-made dam, and so this mud is man-made, so this is an anthropogenic effect. It's the effect of human interference that has made this impala stuck. But how or why it's in here is interesting. I don't believe it was looking for water to drink. It's possible it was chased in here perhaps by wild dogs, and I'm just looking at the ground here to see if there are any tracks. But I don't see any. I think what we're going to do, I'm going to hand you back to Brent, and I'll try and get hold of the Sabi sands quickly, and then I will bring you some news shortly.
So it seems very, very quiet here on Djuma at the moment. So Tebs and myself are moving across towards our western boundary and going to go see what's happening on Arathusa. And as Tebs was showing you, the sun is hiding behind a few little cumulus clouds. They haven't built to a cumulus nimbus just yet. So for those of you who don't know, when referring to clouds, any cloud that has the word nimbus after it, nimbus means rain. So they're definitely not cumulus nimbus we're looking at there. They're just cumulus, and they're very baby cumulus. And cumulus are one of the more important clouds when you're dealing with large thunderstorms, and they have a very specific shape. When they form, they become an anvil, and you almost have this anvil shape like the old blacksmith's anvil. And when you see that anvil building in the sky, you know there's a possibility of a very large storm on the way. I'm going to have to beg your forgiveness while I use the Arathusa radio quickly, which is stuck behind my water bottle at the moment. Tristan or Dad coming? Is any station on the west copying me? Well, it seems we might be a little bit far to use the Arathusa comms just yet. So let us get a bit closer and see what's happening there. Sometimes it can get a little confusing, especially on Rusty. We're operating on about 4 different radio systems simultaneously. Oh, just move out of the way. There's a vehicle on their way out. Good afternoon, guys. I'm in the west. Any update? he will be able to hear me. He sounds closer to me.
Fence line. The Manueletti, and Anderson has left open lock. On the Cubian's crossing side, the poor visual on it, poor visual.
Just
on the Global scene around the track south, coming south towards central, open lock, and that's it. Cool, thanks Eddie for the east. My name is Yari, and Combi, the caught up to Martin.
Okay, so there we go. There's a female leopard and her cub, which is outside of our traverse zone called Salaheshe. And she is a leopard I have never seen. I've never been able to extend our drive to where she lives. And then the Anderson male was seen also, but apparently a very poor visual and also very far from our traverse zone, actually on the border of Londolozi, quite far to the south and west of us. Oh, rattle, rattle. But I'm hoping there are going to be some elephant around the Arathusa waterhole. When it's hot like this, waterholes are the business. I do apologize for the bumps on this road. As I said, one of the main access roads into the reserve and gets a lot of traffic, and that's where you get these very heavy corrugations. So this is a very, very wonderful little message and a very personal message for me. Thank you very much, Michael and Elka, who are in Johannesburg and watching the show. And they've obviously recently been to a lodge called Sabi Sabi, which is quite well. Actually, if you go straight down that road, you will eventually get there. And my younger brother has started his training as a game ranger, following in the footsteps, so to speak. I'm a little bit proud, don't tell him that. But my brother studied finance and other stuff I have no idea about. But at the ripe old age of 28, he's decided to become a safari guide. And he has started at Sabi Sabi. And Michael and Elka obviously met him there. And my brother just says he's really enjoying his time in the Sabi Sands. And I am very happy and a little bit proud of that. Go Rat Bag. That is my nickname for my brother, believe it or not. It has been since he was about 14 years old. Thank you to B. Wilson, who says I look dashing in my bright orange suspenders. I think so too. I would just really prefer that they were one size or two sizes bigger slightly. They are very tight. But I think if I keep doing this, they're going to stretch enough that they won't be so tight by the end of the safari. The Safari Live skeleton crew that is in the Sabi Sands over the Christmas and New Year's period. Mike is wondering where we all live and whether we live in an actual house or do we live in a tented camp. Well, Mike, we live actually between two different places. So some of us live at Yuri, the landowner, his sister's house on the reserve. There are 5 of us who permanently live there, and it's Nikki and Scott, Jamie and myself, and Eugene, and the rest of the crew live in what is known as the DRC, the Democratic Republic of Congo, or the Djuma research camp. That is a slightly more intimate camp where everyone lives next to each other, but generally we all take our meals together in the DRC, and meetings and all sort of function all happen at the DRC. So we're about to approach the Arathusa airstrip, and we're going to go see what's happening there. Hopefully there might be quite a lot of animals. Unfortunately, our battery is about to die because we are on quite a strange rig at the moment. So Tebs has to change the battery shortly, so if we do go black screen, we do apologize. But there's a male impala just in front of us in the drainage line. So I've just got word that there's a possibility of a special animal on the boundary of Djuma and the southern properties, so we're going to head that way, so bear with me. And if we do lose signal, we do apologize because our battery's flat and we'll change it as fast as possible. James is off tracking at the moment, so unfortunately if we do lose battery we cannot go to him. He's not at the vehicle. I'm not sure what he's tracking. Hopefully we'll get an update on that shortly. So, who would like to guess what the possible Christmas special animal is? Remember, send your answers through, or your guesses about what the special Christmas animal is, to questions at WildEarthTV via email, or use the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. Well spotted, Tebs. I was so concentrating on rushing off to the secret animal that we nearly missed the special Christmas warthogs for Tara Dales. Unfortunately, we can't stay here too long. We have to keep moving to the secret animal. Wait, one look at this face. A face only a mother could love. I must just warn that the secret animal is probably a 30% chance that we're going to find it, but it's worth the risk. But look at that. Piggies. But let's rush on to the secret animal. This is one of those difficult roads. You know, we hit those really bad bumps pace. Normally we're going quite slowly, but because we are the only vehicle that is operational at the moment, I'm going a little bit faster. If you go faster, you don't hit those corrugations so badly. If I went slower, literally Tibbs and myself would have no teeth left by the end of this road. Just scream leopard. Tabs, I might give you oh my god, Tabs, well done. I might give you a Christmas kiss. I was so concentrating on avoiding the corrugations, I just drove past Shadow. Hello, Scardivier. And just Shadow being Shadow. She is quite a snarly leopard as leopards go. Well done, Tebsy. Let me just turn around. Don't go that way, please, Shadow. We're right on our boundary and she's walked across, but hopefully she'll keep working parallel. Well, this definitely trumps the secret animal. A leopard in hand is better than 25 sets of tracks. Just going to try to get a little bit ahead. Unfortunately, she's crossed into the opposite property. We're right on the boundary. She's going to pop out into that gap. I have to let the vehicles on this side of the world know. She's going to pop out into this gap in about 3 seconds, or she laid down. She's gone flat. Okay, let's go backwards. Is any station in the west copying me? We've located Shadow on Triple M, just to the south of the junction, Gary, mate.
We've got Shadow on Triple M south of main.
Affirmative.
What's he doing, Grace?
At the moment, she's lying up about 15 meters into Hoffman's.
Cedric, right, it's quite soft actually. Yeah, but like you said, she's lying upright. Copy. I'm going to take myself out of the locked off so that I'm closer to that one. I'll Shadow. Brent, I'm coming to join in.
Copy said, just come on Triple M, you'll get my vehicle visual.
That'll be that. Alright, it is.
So isn't this incredible? We have a Christmas cat, thanks to Tebs. And we went from a 30% chance of finding an animal to a 100% chance of having a leopard. And that is our Christmas present today.
That's what I thought you were there. Two vehicles. I'll take a look if we can find him there. Not
copy. So there we go. And there was some talk of Christmas cats this morning that didn't appear, but tick, Christmas kitty cat. And I think all of us out there need to give Tebs a big thank you for our Christmas cat present. And he is the one who spotted Shadow. Tebs, is this your first solo leopard spot? No, he shakes his head. Fourth! There we go. He's an old hand these days. Ah, that is true. I nearly forgot about that. Tebs, when he was with Scott, spotted the dogs way before Scotty did. So unfortunately, she is lying just outside of our Travis area, but we do have a good view, and the majority of her territory actually falls back towards where we are. So we're definitely going to sit this out, and hopefully she will move her way back towards Arathusa. So smart redhead, I agree with you 110%. Shadow is a wonderful name for her. She is quite camera shy at the moment, and Tebs is an awesome cameraman. So you can see she's busy doing a little bit of preening, cleaning at the moment, and you'll notice leopards do that quite often when they're sleeping. I'm just going to have a quick afternoon meeting here quickly, guys. I'll be back with you in a second. She's lying under the Combritum closest to the Shidulu. Yeah. Alright. Do I need to move for you, or you good?
I'm going to have a look here from the back front here, and I'll see if I can get a better
Cool. So the guys from Nkoro have arrived, and they, fortunately for them, are able to traverse this property just to the south of where we are, or the southeast. We just might have to move the vehicle a little bit so they can get past us. And then we'll be back in a second. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Thank you very much for the
Oh, Lord. Thank Tebs. He spotted it.
Yeah, well done.
So we're just going to wait a second. We're just going to let them, they're going to go around where they can drive off the road. Just going to wait for them to go past. Tebs, you got a view? We will go forward a little bit and see if we can. Oops, there we go. Watch out. Let's see if we can get a decent view from around here. Negative. Let me just turn the vehicle around. So the other thing is, finding and spotting animals is a team game. So we will always share sightings, and we've been right up at the front having her by ourselves for the whole drive so far. And the likelihood is that we're going to stay much longer here in the other vehicles. So what I will do is let them have their Christmas leopard, but we'll have a much longer Christmas leopard. So Genevieve in New York would like to know, has any specific species ever chosen not to procreate because of disease outbreaks? Not that I'm aware of, Genevieve. I think it's a very instinctive thing. They are programmed to procreate at any time possible, as opposed to the very rare occurrence of takeovers of males, but we'll chat about that a little bit shortly. So what we're going to do is we're going to let everyone else enjoy it, because we're not going anywhere for a while, and we're just going to move back. I'm going to get you a view of her tail at least, and we're just going to sit here, and we will move into position where we can see her wonderfully shortly. And this is how you see how wonderful a leopard's camouflage is and how good Teb's spotting is. Let's see. So if we have a look through there, Tebs, do you have any rosettes? There we go. Have you got rosettes? Spots? Let me go forward a little bit. So just, you got it.
Tiny spots.
Yes, there we go. So you can see how incredible that camouflage is. And that's why leopards are one of the more difficult animals to find, and why we always get so excited when we find them. And you can see there, almost zero chance of spotting that when you drive past, unless you are the eagle eyes of Tebs, who spotted that long before I did. So Shell in Detroit would like to know what are Shadow's very distinctive markings. She said Karula's got the wow between her eyes, and Kanyuma's got the pound sign. Shell, I think you're getting Kanyuma and Quarantine confused. Quarantine is the one with the pound sign, and a landing strip down his back. But for me, the most distinguishing features of Shadow is she's got a very distinct face compared to most other leopards in this area. She's got almost a pug face. I know I'm probably going to get in trouble for this, but she's not the prettiest leopard in the world. She is still nonetheless beautiful, being a female leopard, and she's got a very squat face, and she's quite a lot paler than even her mother, Karula. And for me, immediately those are distinguishing features. Also her behavior. She's quite a snarly leopard. She growls at cars quite often, and the fact that she snarled at us in the beginning is a good sign that it is Shadow. Sorry guys, we are going to have to move the car again. There's another vehicle about to arrive, and I just need to explain to them where they need to go, and we'll let them enjoy the sighting, and I promise you we're not going anywhere. We're going to take the most advantage of our Christmas cat as possible. And let me just move out of the way for Sid. Merry Christmas, everyone! Everyone is in such a good mood because it is Christmas. I half expect Cedric to get his guests to start singing Christmas carols at the Leopard. Okay, Tibbs, you tell me when you've got the best shot. It's not going to be the greatest, but it is going to be around here somewhere.
Reverse slightly.
Yeah. Say when?
Yeah.
So, from what I can see, it looks like she... Well, I'm not going to speculate because we're not going to be moving for a while. I'm actually going to climb out of my seat and I'm going to sit behind Tebs so I can see what Tebs is filming. And therefore we can chat a bit better. Oh, there we go. Beautiful, Tebs. We've got her face and she's lying up. It's very hot. And we can see that bright green bush willow branches around her. So Safari Dean is wondering what was the other surprise animal that I was speeding towards. Well, it was actually James Henry and Andrew Francis making absolute nonsenses out of themselves. So definitely this is much better. You can see the heavy panting. She's very hot. And it's well over 90 degrees Fahrenheit, possibly even got close to 100 today, and that was with the cool morning we had. And I haven't seen Shadow in quite a while, so I'm quite excited to catch up with this female leopard. And again, we are on the small camera, which is not connected to the battery bank. So if we do disappear, I do apologize. We do need to change the battery. So what we will do is, as soon as the battery dies, we will let you, well, we won't let you know because we'll disappear, but don't worry, we will be back as soon as we can change the battery. So we've been chatting about our living arrangements a little bit earlier on the safari, and Laura's saying, but surely living in such close proximity to each other, we must get on each other's nerves, and how often does that happen? Well, Laura, we're very lucky. We have a very open camp, and as soon as even the smallest thing irritates someone, we generally bring it up, and that's the only way you can do that, because if you leave things and they build and fester, it'll be a problem. Okay, guys, we are going to disappear back, and we can see this leopard has gone completely flat, and she didn't look too full when we saw her move, so she might move again before the end of the sunset safari. And unfortunately, this is the best angle we have at the moment without illegally traversing someone else's land.